I was somewhat fascinated with explosives, and that's what led me to joining the bomb squad. You'll read about devices going off in Ireland. You were always curious as to what kind of a device it was, you know, how it was set up, how it was meant to go. There used to be a joke between bomb techs. When you cut a wire, you can hear it. But if you cut the wrong wire, you're never going to hear it.
In the early 1970s, Belfast was rapidly becoming one of the most bombed cities in the world. It was a dangerous place to grow up.
Among the dead are Protestants and Catholics. Some are children.
This is not just a British problem. This is an international problem.
It was amazing the amount of young kids, you know, that were getting hurt, that were getting hit by plastic bullets.
Life was about survival. Nobody ever got used to the violence that engulfed the community.
There was a great need to take the kids out of Northern Ireland.
That set the scene for parents willing to trust us to take them to America.
We had come to another world. We'd left all of that behind.
Belfast was like grey. This place was in colour. I felt safe being here.
Greenwood Lake, a world away from a place called Belfast, Northern Ireland.
When these kids came over here, that was our family. We started a family.
It was just a completely different experience. It definitely it changed me.
Project Children smoothed the way for the peace process in Northern Ireland before there was a peace process in Northern Ireland.
Denis has been involved in the work of reconciliation for a very, very, very long time, long before any of us.
We will stand with you as you take risks for peace.
He knew then that he'd not only save some individual lives and create some different futures, but it might move the country.
Greetings. My name is Sean Pender, and I have the great honor of being the National President of the Ancient Order of Hibernians. I'd like to welcome you all today to the joint webinar with the Ancient Order of Hibernians and Project Children regarding the move to Monaghan Peace Campus. We all just watched that very powerful trailer on how to defuse a bomb, the Project Children story. And this is still powerful today as it was when we first saw it. Today, I have the great honor of meeting with the people who made Project Children possible, whose dream it was, those who worked on it, those who are alumni of the program, those who hosted the program, and those that are moving us to the next phase of Project Children in Monaghan. It is great to have with us today Denis Mulcahy, the Project Children co-founder and chairman, Catherine Flood, a Project Children volunteer, and also the principal of Costin Flood Recruiting and Events, helping make the move to Monaghan possible. We're also joined by mother and daughter, Sheila Keenan and Mary Dolan, who are Project Children host families. And lastly, a alumni of the program, Project Children alumni, and now Northern Ireland Judicial Appointment Commission, Patricia Macbride. So it's my honor on behalf of the Ancient Order Hibernians to welcome everyone and talk more about this great, great program, what it's done in the past and what its plans are in the future. And to start this off tonight, I have the great honor of introducing Denis, who I've met on several occasions. And how do you introduce a man who has done so much and has been recognized so much for the worthy work he's done? Well, Denis, of course, is a former NYPD bomb squad detective and was the co-founder and chairman for Project Children for an amazing 50 years. This man has been nominated and runner-up twice for a Nobel Peace Prize, runner-up to the likes of Mother Teresa and Nelson Mandela. He has been recognized by Pope John Paul, the NYPD on numerous occasions, recognized by President Ronald Reagan, was part of a diplomacy trip in 1995 to Northern Ireland with President Bill Clinton, recognized by the church with the Cardinal Cook Right to Life Award. The British Empire has bestowed on Denis an OBE. The Irish government has given him the Presidential Distinguished Service Award. And at the AOH, he has won the highest awards at the local, state, and national level. In 2018, Denis was our JFK Memorial Award recipient. And I think it's definitely in line of why he received it. It was John F. Kennedy is attributed to saying, "Children are the world's most valuable resource and its best hope for the future." And that's what Denis has done for 50 years. So Denis, it's great to be with you today. I know there's so many that be watching this, hold you in such great esteem, and know a lot about your story, but it's always worthwhile hearing it again. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of the program and how it was initially started ago?
Well, 1975, the troubles were extremely bad in Northern Ireland, and it was covered here on national television every night, and kids on the street writing, whatever. So we felt we wanted to do something about it, and we came up with the idea, why not take them out of there during the summer? Because a lot of these seem to happen during the marching season. So the summer was a good time to get them out of there and give them a break. So we started raising some money, and we raised enough to bring 5 children the first year. And, then we got quite a bit of publicity, and the following year we brought 21. So, people became aware of what it was all about, and they had a chance to meet the kids, the first 6, then the 21. So fast forward 40 years, we brought over 23,000 kids, so which is an amazing accomplishment. And again, this would never have been possible if it wasn't for the generosity of the American people and the people who opened their homes and took these children in. And it was the people, the host families, and without them, it could never have been done.
And it's after taking in 5 and then 21 people to go up to 23,000. I can imagine that as this program became more and more successful, there had to be some very huge expenses to try to get this done. How did you accomplish that magic to do it for 40 years and to bring so many children over?
Well, again, we could only do it as long as people helped us. We would go to, I'd go to meetings, organizations, couple of weeks or weekly and speak, and the first question people would say, how long are you going to do this? And my answer was, we can only do it as long as people help us. And year after year, and came up with the money. And again, a lot of it was all small fundraisers, raffles, events in church halls. And that's why over the years, when the economy was not the greatest out there, we still did well. And again, the people without the people. And again, we did get some large donations, but there was a little, many older folks that were willing to take 10 raffle tickets. And in the meantime, they maybe had $20 in their pocket, but, so they were spending half of what they had. So who makes the biggest sacrifice? So it was an amazing program, and it attracted amazing people, Sean, and people like yourself, and who hung in year after year.
definitely one of the heroes of so many with Project Children, and was a great advocate here in New Jersey. When my wife and I got married, actually in 1992, in lieu of giving out gifts, we actually gave a donation to Project Children through Dot Ashton. It was one of the things I'm proud of, kind of closes the circle. But Denis, you're very unique in that just to try to do this, and you jumped in with both feet, and your success speaks for itself. But you had a very unique day job that kept you very busy, and I would say on your toes. So how could you balance being an NYPD bomb squad officer? Just the NYPD officer would be something formidable. But to do that type of job and also to chair Project Children for an amazing 50 years.
Well, I have to say the NYPD were very good to me, and especially the guys in the bomb squad. But again, when we got a job, I was one of the first to get out and get it done, so I could come back and do some. So everybody was very understanding. It was a challenge, and we got by. It's. Like I said, the NYPD was good to us. These guys came to the airport, they worked on the luggage and helped in many, many ways. Unfortunately, a number of them people we lost on 9/11, which is quite sad. But it was an amazing time.
This next question might be difficult, but do you have one greatest memory of the program?
I think, Sean, the first time that 747 came in, it had 468 kids on it. And I'm not sure with this if it was the first time, but Tommy McGrath, the man, great guy, had run 1,000 miles in Central Park as a fundraiser. And Tommy met the plane out on the main runway and ran in front of it all the way into the hangar. The TWA hangar where all of the families would meet the children and stuff. And that was really an amazing thing. And seeing all these kids walk down the stairs off that aircraft, it was like opening up a water faucet. You'd wonder, when is it going to stop? Because, it was getting crowded at the bottom of the plane and, the luggage, everything. I would say that was the greatest memory I have of the program.
Story, and Tom McGrath is another great human being, and just an example of how everybody could pitch in. But as we look back now, I know we closed the young persons program a while back. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and tell us about the program today and the next steps as we get ready to move to Monaghan?
Well, we have two amazing young ladies, Catherine Flood and Linda Croston, who was spearheaded this challenge, and they're out every day. Of course, Catherine is a Monaghan native and has an amazing family over there, so we got great support on the ground there, and we're really looking forward to it. Thanks to Heather Humphreys, the center was built. It was all meant to be, Sean. You couldn't make this thing happen because the amount of money that was involved and everything, it just kind of all came together. And we're extremely grateful to Monaghan County Council and all of the people, like I said, on the ground. And without Catherine and Linda, nobody has any idea of the work these girls put into it. They're from 6 in the morning until midnight nonstop. Two great people. So Project Children is very fortunate to have the volunteers they've had over the years. And, again, we have lost many of them, including Dottie Ashton and, Margaret Dawson and Belfast. But life goes on, and we have a lot of young people that are picking up the slack, and we're extremely proud of it. And Monaghan is going to be amazing, and looking forward, Sean, to spending some time with you in Monaghan and going through the museum, and Castle Leslie is going to be great, and a great week planned. So.
a great way to remember all those people who, in a special way, for their contributions to peace and forgiveness and moving forward. But now let's move on to Catherine Flood, who hails from the great county of Monaghan. Catherine is involved with Project Children for the past 35 years, and she's Project Children's co-director on the move to Monaghan Peace Campus, along with her good friend, Linda Croston. Both ladies are partners of a highly successful and prevalent consultant company, Croston Flood Recruiting, Consultant, and Events. Catherine is a well-known community activist and event planner in New York. She is creative and accomplished in fundraising and in making things happen. Both Catherine and Linda have been working for the past 2 years on Project Children's move to Monaghan Peace Campus. Catherine will give us the details in this segment on all the events happening in County Monaghan. Now let's take a look at the promotional video, Move to Monaghan, which will be followed by Catherine Flood's comments.
Welcome to the Peace Campus, a cross-community and cross-cultural space here in the centre of Monaghan town. It's also the home for Monaghan County Museum, which has been serving the people of Monaghan for over 50 years. My name is Liam Bradley. I'm the curator here at Monaghan County Museum, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our new home. We just marked 50 years of serving the people of Monaghan with a major event which saw thousands of people throng into the museum to experience our new exhibition, Bordering Realities, Monaghan People and Stories. Come with me, let's explore. This exhibition of outlines challenges visitors with the one question: do the borders in your life define you, or do you define your borders? We look at the social, culture and political borders in this exhibition and how those lines have interwoven to create a rich mosaic which makes this county exceptional. In 2025, we're honoured to host the 50th anniversary of Project Children, this incredible project which saw over 23,000 young people from all over Northern Ireland have an opportunity to travel to America and experience a new way of life. The collection will find its home here in the museum, and we look forward to welcoming you all in October for the major event to mark 50 years of Project Children. Monaghan has a fascinating story to tell, and so much to offer visitors who want to come and experience an authentic way of life in this place of frontiers.
While you are here, enjoy horse riding, or a tour at Castle Leslie and the numerous hospitality venues. Tee off at one of our popular golf courses, unwind by paddleboarding along the Ulster Canal in Clonus, or crafting your own personal pottery souvenir. Monaghan is famous for Carpet Cross lace. Enjoy outdoor pursuits, a rolling countryside, historic churches. Spend a day at the iconic Patrick Kavanagh Centre, or take a scenic hike taking in the breathtaking views in Braga. Whether you're an outdoor enthusiast, an Irish culture lover, or someone seeking relaxation, there's something for everyone, so come join us in County Monaghan.
Very informational, and we look forward to that. And with that, I'm going to introduce Catherine Flood to speak more about the move to Monaghan Peace Campus. Catherine?
Thank you, Sean, so much, and hello to everybody. I get the exciting part of the Project Children journey, and that is to welcome you all to County Monaghan this October for the historic move of Project Children's Archive, taken all the way from Greenwood Lake and now going into the magnificent Monaghan Peace Campus that is newly built in Monaghan town. I myself am from County Monaghan, but I'm extremely proud of the partnership that Project Children has made with the Monaghan County Council, and I want to thank the Monaghan County Council for the welcome that they've given to Project Children and all the people that's going to be coming in October. I want to thank Linda, Linda Croston, who's working very hard with me on all the plans. And we have a lot of exciting things in the works. If you want to follow us at Project Children Ireland to keep up to date on the social media side and on the website of projectchildren.org, you will get all the information on the details. But we are bringing over 200 people to County Monaghan this October, and from October 7th to the 11th. And we've got Aer Lingus, one of our wonderful partners with this, to offer a promotional code for anybody who's looking to fly. That's the number one thing to get there. And that code is Project CHD 25. Everything's on the website again. They're offering a promotion on that. So we have 5 days of events. That's going to be a lot of fun to spend with Denis and Sean Pender and everybody else that's travelling. And it will open at Castle Leslie, beautiful estate in County Monaghan, where there will be an opening dinner, and Denis will welcome everybody. And we're looking forward to that. And thank you to Sammy and everyone involved. We've got 4 days of events, of tours organised by the Monaghan County Council to tour the Patrick Kavanagh Centre, Lochmuckno, Carrickmacross, that offers wide variety from Carrickmacross Lace to their workhouse, a lot of tours to be had in Clonus and all lengths of the county. And following on all of that will be the opening of the archive. This will be all happening on the Wednesday night. And we have a lot of dignitaries that will join with Denis and all the great people from Project Children on the opening of the museum. Liam Bradley, the creator of the museum, is currently working on the history and the memorabilia and the display in the museum. He does wonderful work. That'll be a wonderful evening. And on day 3, we have the play on Project Children, which was performed in the Lyric Theatre in Belfast, and they will be performing for everybody in town at the Garage Theatre and during the day and that night. And we also have golf for everybody and all types of activities for people that's traveling. On Friday we have hikes in local areas and the exciting gala where we'll have over 500 people coming together to join with Denis and the Mulcahy family on the celebrations of Project Children and all they have achieved. So the first thing to do is to follow us on our website and register for all the details so that you don't miss anything there. And we have a list of hotels in the area. The Hillgrove Hotel is offering a special rate, and that's the main hotel where the gala will be held. So many people are checking in there. Hotels are booking out fast, so we do say to people to go on the website and register so you get all the updates, and we will help any way we can with any information. We do have Katie Daly Ireland, who are also jumping in to help with anybody who wants to stay longer or facilitate them with their airline and tour around other counties before they come to County Monaghan. So we're very excited about celebrating the 50th anniversary. We kicked this off last year in building up to the final Project Children picnic last October. We're very thankful to all the sponsors involved because we couldn't do that without them. And we're very much looking forward to the future of Project Children and keeping the name alive. And Monaghan County Council will be working with Project Children on the legacy that will be a staple for generations to come. And to have Project Children at the Monaghan Peace Campus is an opportunity for the world to see the accomplishments and all that was done by 16,000 volunteers. We're very thankful to America. So I think it's bringing America into the hearts of people in Ireland and to realise what the role that people played in taking 23,000 children into their homes and facilitating this programme and all the fundraising and the donors in America. So it's an opportunity as well for Denis to recognise the host families and the people that were on this journey with him, many of them for the 50 years. So it's going to be one party, not to be missed. Myself and Linda Cross will be very disappointed if you don't all join us. So it's open to everybody. Even if you just know the name Project Children and you haven't been directly involved, it's an opportunity to come and celebrate and be part of everything. So I want to thank you very much, Sean, for giving us this opportunity to talk about this. And our final note, I want to say our celebration is on March 22nd in Yonkers, as Denis Mulcahy is the Grand Marshal of the Yonkers Parade. And we're all very excited to follow the Green Line up McLean Avenue in his honour. And, lots of other celebrations along the way this year. So we're looking forward to it. And thank you, and we'll see you all in County Monaghan.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I know I for one, am really looking forward to this very, very special time in there. And if one takes a look at the website and the social media, it said it's going to be a lot of great events there. And what a better way to honor the people who have come before us, Denis and so many others. But in a special way right now, what we're going to do is we have some visitors with us, guests, I should say, to speak about how Project Children affected their lives. And first up, we have Patricia Macbride with us. Patricia is a human rights lawyer, and last year she was appointed as a commissioner with the Northern Ireland Judicial Appointments Commission. This body was set up after the Good Friday Agreement to ensure that judges and judicial office holders are appointed based on merit and free from political interference. Patricia, thank you for joining us today to tell a little bit about your story as one of the 23,000 people who had a positive effect on their lives. So please share with us, if you will, some of your thoughts on Project Children and what it has meant to you in the past and today and hopefully in the future.
Hello, Sean, and hello to everybody that's tuning in to watch this event tonight. I can only say, as someone who benefited from the program, it had a huge impact on my life. I was one of the older participants in the program. I was almost 15. I was when I came out to spend a summer in New Jersey with Pat and Joe Barry in Bloomfield and their family. And the warmth of the welcome that I received was quite breathtaking. Denis talked about the first time the 747 came into that hangar at JFK, and my abiding memory as badge number 6 and one of the first people off of that plane was the giant of a man that was Finbar Devine, God rest him, leading the NYPD Emerald Society pipe band down that runway. And I didn't know whether to dance or whether to cry. The emotion was so strong because I was so nervous. I didn't know what to expect. We'd had letters and exchanged with our host families, but I just didn't know whether this was going to be something that was going to be, I would be I knew I would be welcomed, but I didn't know just the depth of the welcome. I had no idea at the level of commitment that the volunteers, that the host families, that the whole people that rode in behind as a support team to Project Children, how much it meant to them to get this right for the 500 kids getting off that plane, so that they would be at ease, so that we would know that we were safe and that we were home. And that was my first memory. And, coming into, getting onto a bus with all of the kids that were going out to Jersey and being excited to know where you were going, meeting your host family for the first time and arriving there after, a long trip, a bus down from Derry and a flight to JFK and then another bus from JFK out to Bloomfield. It was a long, long day, but arriving and just feeling this sense of relief to have a family there. And I mean, I still think of Joe and Pat Barry as my American dad and my mom and dad. And as recently as October, I had lunch in the kitchen in Bloomfield with my American brothers and sisters. Some of them, those connections endure after all of these years. Those relationships endure because they were part of the life that my family and I were living at a very, very difficult time. It was just 7 months after my brother was killed as a result of the Troubles when I went to the Barry family and spent that time there. And during that winter, after my brother died, my mother was heartbroken. She'd lost her eldest child. She was afraid for the rest of us. And so as much as it was important for me to be able to take a step back from the pressures that I had been going through over that period of time, it was really important for her as well, because for that period of time, she had one less person to worry about because she knew that I was being taken care of. And that was a gift that I don't think until many years later, when Joe and Pat Barry came to visit us in Ireland and my mother was able to tell them that, I don't think they fully appreciated the gift that they gave our family by welcoming me into their home at that time. You know, so from that point of view, from a very, very human point of view, it was life-changing. And then when I look at the influences that were brought to bear on me by being part of that family, and make no mistake, I was part of the family. I wasn't the visitor. I wasn't the guest. I had to, you know, I had to take out the scoop and strain the leaves out of the pool, and I had to sweep the yard and wash the dishes. You know, I was treated just like one of the family. There was no getting away from it. And one of the funny stories, one of the funniest things that happened was that Joe at that time was a councilman in Bloomfield. And one Friday night, the doorbell rang and Pat asked me to answer the door. So I went to the front door and there's a police officer standing there and he has an envelope in his hand. And he said, he just reached across and said, "This is for Mr. Barry." And I said, "I'm underage. I can't accept service. You're going to have to give it to him yourself." And I closed the door. Now, it turned out the police officer had been sent from the city hall to deliver the papers for the council meeting. But in the world that I came from, this was someone who was coming with a court notice or a summons or whatever. And following on from that, then going and attending council meetings with Joe and watching how people from opposing political parties and very different political viewpoints were working together for the good of their community was the first time that I really witnessed a proper democracy in action. Because we were in a situation where we were so diametrically polarized politically that people couldn't see beyond their political affiliations to work for the good of the community. It was always about point scoring against the other. And, you know, that is why I saw myself wanting to be more involved in politics with a small p. I've never run for office and I'm not interested in running for office. I think it's something that, you know, trying to encourage activism within your community. And, you know, there's a long kind of story behind that. But, you know, one of the outcomes of that for me very much is that I'm very proud to have been a founding member of Ireland's Future, which is an organisation that the Ancient Order of Hibernians has been to the forefront of supporting, a civic society initiative about driving forward positive change and constitutional change on this island. And that's just one manifestation of what has happened as a result of being so fortunate to be part of the Project Children's story.
Absolutely, and a very powerful message there. I would say that your time in Bloomfield and the program, you know, positively affected you as an advocate now. While we may not be perfect, no one is. I'm sure it is pretty powerful to come over here, especially during that time when the politics in the North were a lot different. But Patricia, as we wrap up, what do you think the 50th anniversary in celebrations in Monaghan will mean to you, and what do you feel that new campus can provide Irish Americans and others as they go and visit?
I think there's a number of aspects to that. The most straightforward and the most obvious response to that is this is an opportunity for a lot of people who were involved, pardon me, either as fundraisers, as host families, as supporters of the programme, to celebrate a job well done, to look back and reflect upon the impact of the programme and those thousands of young people that were forever changed by it. And in some ways to congratulate themselves, but also to very much say, if this wasn't part, Project Children wasn't part of the legacy of the North of Ireland over the last 50 years, would we really be where we are now? Would we have advanced the peace process to the point where we have? Because in some ways, this started out as a very simplistic idea to bring young people, to bring children from different religious and political backgrounds together in a space away from where they were growing up so that they could begin to understand each other. But it was bigger than that. It was about seeing what young people in a different kind of society where there was an absence of violence, reacted to one another. So it became a much bigger civic enterprise than simply separating young people. And so it's a chance for a celebration of a job well done. It's also about an intention setting for the future, that whilst the programme has changed and the dynamics have changed, those connections remain. And those connections will endure. The connections that I have with my host family and the wider Project Children family will allow me and have allowed me to continue those positive relationships that Ireland will always need with Irish America to further grow upon the peace process that is still in progress. You know, we are still a work in progress. And I think in terms of the campus in Monaghan, it's important that all of those who contributed to the Project Children story from Ireland and from Irish America have a chance to go and reflect upon that and to review the material that's in the archive and to remind themselves of those stories. But for me, as 15-year-old me walking down the steps of that plane, walking back into that archive in Monaghan when it opens is going to be about remembering a time when I felt hope, when I felt there was a different way, when I understood what civic activism was, when I understood what things could be like with dialogue, with cooperation. It's a vital, it's a vital part of the jigsaw that is the peace process, that is the history of a contested place that is now finally a place full of hope, full of activism, full of change, and where the future is something that we positively embrace and not something that we fear because we're uncertain about what it'll be. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that archive, to taking my time walking through it, and to hopefully contributing some of my experience to it.
Thank you, Patricia, for sharing. And I think it speaks to everybody. Just think of the powerful message that we heard from Patricia there, and multiply that by 23,000. And it tells you what a dream of one man in Greenwood Lake could do to positively affect people throughout generations in Northern Ireland. But of course, there's one really critical point to this. To have the idea is one thing, to have the kids is another, but of course they needed host families. So we're going to go next to Sheila Keenan and Mary Dolan. And they're going to, they were Project Children host families. And they're going to join us to share a bit about their experiences as a host family. Sheila is proudly serving as an ambassador for Project Children's 50th anniversary. She's the owner of a business innovation and creative design agency, Simplisk. In addition to providing B2B services, they're also the creators of OneRockland.com, a platform for promoting small business and tourist destinations across Rockland County, also known as the 33rd County of Ireland. Mary Dolan is an exam proctor at the Pace Law School and an avid quilter and crocheter. Along with her late husband, Larry, Mary supported Project Children since its earliest days as fundraisers, advocates, and hosts. She's the proud mother of 9 children, 6 boys and 3 girls, a full baseball team. Well done. And Mary's also has 22 grandchildren who keep her just as busy as when she was raising her 9. So Sheila and Mary now will speak to their contributions to Project Children. And I'm sure it must have been a very, very exciting time. And I'm sure there was tears of apprehension from the children that were coming over. But 6 weeks later, those tears probably were to tears of joy and somewhat sorrow when they left. But to what Patricia has mentioned, I'm sure they've contributed to lifelong memories. So it's an honor to have Sheila and Mary speak to us now about their experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean, for that very, very, very warm welcome. And we truly appreciate the opportunity to share our experiences as a host family for Project Children with the AOH. As you mentioned, I'm very honored to be serving as one of the 12 ambassadors for the 50th anniversary of Project Children. And I thank Denis and Linda and Catherine for all that they do for the organization and for helping us to go out and speak on behalf of it. So, you know, one of the things, Mom, that we've been asked to do is talk about our experiences. You are a 50-year supporter of Project Children. We've all been involved with it. I do not know a moment in my life where Project Children was not a part of it. And so if you don't mind kicking us off a little bit, maybe a little bit about our history and our involvement with the organization.
Well, thank you very much, Sean, and thank the AOH, and thanks, Sheila. When we were very, very fortunate, we've known Denis and Miriam, I think, forever. And when our parents came from Galway, mine came from Galway and Clare, my husband's came from Cavan and Leitrim, and they came over here in the early 1900s. And they brought, Larry's father fought for the south of Ireland. And anyway, Larry and I met in 1959, and we knew that we would be very involved in Irish things and Irish connections. And when we had the children, we started the Dolan family band and played Irish music, and it was very, very wonderful. And Denis called us, and we were very happy to be part of the fundraising for Project Children right from the beginning. And Denis and Miriam, you have no idea the amount of work that was to start. And they used to spoil us with dinners and everything else. I mean, they never stopped. And they were a wonderful organization. And we were very, very happy to raise money or help raise money for Project Children. So anyway, it was a wonderful experience everywhere. Yeah.
And after a couple of years of fundraising through playing music, as all of my siblings had the Irish band, the Dolan family band. So after a couple of years of fundraising, then you started to host kids. As Denis mentioned, the program was growing. And so there were finally enough kids for us to host. At first, there weren't enough. So, right. So, so
we were very, very lucky. And our kids learned as much from those kids as they learned, I hope, from us. And I always admired the parents who had the courage to put their 11-year-old child on a plane going 3,000 miles to strangers. And things must have been very, very tough in Ireland for them to have the courage to do that. It couldn't be an easy thing to do for a family. And they trusted us with their children's lives for 6 weeks. And I have to admire them. That took a lot of courage. It really was. And I always cherished all the letters from the parents and from the children. And we had such a wonderful, wonderful time with the kids. And we went back to a family wedding in Belfast, and 6 of them took us out to dinner. And it was great to see them grown up with children and everything. And it was and now one of them is the grandfather. So he wants a Project Children for grandfathers. He wants to get another program to get them back in here.
He calls it Project Grandpa. He'd like to come
Project
back through
Grandpa.
it. So just for a little bit of context, so our family hosted children through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And so we had 14 children come and stay with us at our home in Pearl River, New York. And some of them actually came back more than once. So we never knew how to count the number. But I think we finally figured it out. It's probably 14. And then my sister Marianne and her husband Jim also hosted a child in 2005. My aunt and uncle, Aunt Barbara and Uncle Jim, they hosted many children in Pennsylvania. And interestingly, Uncle Pat and Aunt Eileen had 3 children of their own, 2 of whom were deaf. So they actually hosted 2 deaf children from Northern Ireland through the program, which was a special experience for them and probably a good opportunity because, as you can imagine, communicating with a family is difficult no matter what when you're coming from another country, and to have that extra bit of kindness was very important.
And they still keep up that connection to this day.
Yeah.
They're very, very close with the crowd in the north of Ireland, the deaf community.
Yeah. So I know we've kind of shared a little bit about the history, but one of the things that we've been asked to share with the AOH today as well is a couple of maybe anecdotes from all of those years. And I'm sure everybody can appreciate it's hard to compress that many years and that many kids' stories and that many summers, but maybe you could just share a couple of little bits with us, Mom.
Well, we were very lucky to have all of those children, and each one brought a certain specific thing that was just them, you know, and I'd love to talk about them all. And when we took the kids, Denis said, treat them like your own. And as Patricia said, that's exactly what we did. They were just part of the family, and whatever we did, they did. And all of the neighbors loved them, and they got along great with our children and my children's friends. And of course, they had their games and their entertainment and their slang. And of course, it was always great fun to hear them speaking, and everybody wanted them to speak just so they could hear their brogue. It was great fun. And each one came with their own circumstances at home, and they all brought us the gift of their personalities to our home. So it was a wonderful thing. And we'll never forget the treasure that it was. I mean, it was something that we'll never forget. Patricia made me very emotional when she was talking about coming in. And we would watch those kids coming down those stairs, so nervous. Oh, they were a wreck. They were looking around and saying, which one is the one I'm staying with? You know, it was frightening for them. And they had their little pin on them saying what family they went to. And of course, once you met them, you were happy. And they were so tired because, you know, it was 5 or 6 hours difference in our time.
They probably didn't sleep the night before either.
And so anxious. It was really wonderful. And we had 3 brothers, the small boys. They were Stephen, Sean, and Frankie. And their parents sent back the younger ones, you know, to our family. And it was very nice to host them. They were very funny kids. They were very smart kids. And they certainly were athletic. And then we had Denis would give us children that could sing or play music or dance. And the one little boy, Darren Kelly, he played the trombone, and he would play when the Saints go marching in, and so and the whole place would go crazy. I mean, he was the cutest thing. And Eamon McQuillan was a fabulous Irish dancer. He was fantastic. But most of them sang, and they were just part of our family. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful thing that Denis thinks that those kids got something, you know, that he was doing something for them, but he was doing a lot for us too. I mean, it was just a wonderful time. And then Sheila was, of course, much younger. We have 9 kids, but we had 8 and 10 years, and 10 years later had Sheila. So then we started taking girls to be with her, and they were lovely kids and very, very sweet. And when they were around our grandchildren, they get very homesick for their little brothers and sisters. And they all learned to swim. Every child that came here learned to swim. And they were very, very competitive. They loved to challenge the kids here. It was really, it's a great thing to see, you know, and everybody enjoyed them. And I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, we had a lot of experiences. Obviously, I was a little kid for a lot of this, but I have so many great memories of traveling and of being at home with these children and just having them, you know, be friends for the summer. And then we had a fantastic neighborhood of all kinds of people from all different backgrounds, from Vietnam, from China, from Germany, from kind of everywhere. So our little neighborhood here was a very interesting place for us and for others who joined. So some of my favorite memories are of Mr. and Mrs. Horn, our German neighbors who would spoil the kids rotten as they could. And we would go to the Bronx Zoo and they would have us over for breakfasts. And, you know, they all grew up during World War II. And Mr. Horn in Germany, when the kids would come over here, he would say, you know, no child should grow up in a war zone. And he felt very, very strongly about that and wanted to make sure that they treated the children who were here nicely. So we were very blessed with a lot of great neighbors and other volunteers.
Dr. Holt, who was a neighbor, was an area coordinator, and you know, lived in a couple of towns away from us, and he was always involved, and nobody could get these kids entertaining and carrying on like he could. He was wonderful. Dennis knows the way, you know, Dr. Holt was. He was just amazing, and we had just great times. And the first thing those kids, when they come, is they ask me for Mrs. Horn, Father McMahon, and Dr. Frank Holt, and they've really made a difference in their lives. Yeah.
So we're very excited now about these next steps as well. We have, you know, all of this history that we're very proud of and we were blessed to be a part of. We were very excited during the picnic in October of this past year to reconnect with a lot of the Project Children community. And in one of those Project Children moments, a different Patricia, but Patricia, who's the sister of Kira O'Regan, who was a girl who came and stayed with us for 2 summers, she saw us taking a photo with the Dolan family drum, which I wish I had with me here now, but she saw us taking a photo and she came up and introduced herself, and we ended up chatting with her all day. And we also had a chat with Sean.
A video chat with Sean Small, and he gave us all the updates, and he said that he was going to come to Monaghan and he was going to get as many of them as he could together to come and see us. And it would be wonderful to see them all grown up. Of course, he was one of the 6 that came to the dinner in Belfast, and it was just a wonderful thing, and we're all looking forward to going to the move to Monaghan.
And we're
in October.
And we're going to use that as a bit of an excuse to reconnect with all the kids. So we've been trying to connect with them on social media. We've gotten a lot of them. It's a little tough to find some people, as you guys can imagine. A lot of names are sort of common on social media, so we're getting there. But we're blessed to be able to do that. So we're really excited to have that. And we reconnected with Terrence Coyle, who is now an artist, and he came here in 1984. And he is very excited to meet us in Monaghan, but he'll be bringing his son with him. And he said his son is 11 years of age, the exact same age he was when he came here. So he's very excited to introduce him to Mom and everyone. So we're hoping that, you know, not only are we honored to be here representing 16,000 host families who over 40 years opened their hearts and their homes to 23,000 kids from the north of Ireland. But we really are just privileged to revisit this groundbreaking peace effort that Denis and all the volunteers, Denis and Miriam and everyone have really brought to the world. We thank you all for taking time to learn about our story a little bit. And as Catherine had mentioned, you know, we invite you all to join us in Monaghan for the opening of the Project Children Archive, marking that 50th milestone. And as Catherine mentioned, you can find the itinerary, travel deals, all of that on projectchildren.org. And we think that for anybody who travels to be there for that, they'll really just take something special away in their hearts and their minds from what this 50th anniversary celebration is going to be. So thank you very much from both of us for your time.
And one point I'd like to make is when those kids were going back, they were completely different kids than they were when they came. They were so loud, like American kids. And they were so excited getting back to their family, but heartbroken to leave the families here. It was an experience that I can only thank Denis and Miriam for the wonderful, wonderful times that they gave us, as well as the kids in the north of Ireland. Thank you very much. And thank you, Denis.
Thank you so much, Mary and Sheila, for sharing. It really just sounds like the only thing bigger than your heart is your house, probably to keep.
It's very, very small.
But it tells you the great story of this, and for everyone who's listening, just think of the stories we've heard over the last hour or so, and just a very, very small section, and what a difference this person made, this program made. All of those people with us and who've left before us, who can look back and say this is what they've done to contribute to building peace and unity and justice in Ireland. So I know the AOH is really looking forward to being in Monaghan in October. And before I close and give it over to back to Catherine for remarks, we will be pushing this on our social media, and this will be available also on our YouTube program. But to Mary and to Sheila and to Patricia, thank you very, very much for sharing. To Catherine, all the work you do, and to my good friend, Denis Mulcahy. It is once said by Teddy Roosevelt that the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. And you, my friend, are the epitome of that. You've done a tremendous job, and all your accolades are well deserved. So thank you. It's an honor to call you a Hibernian. It's even more an honor to call you a friend. And I wish you well walking up McLean Avenue in the next couple of weeks. Catherine?
Thank you, Sean. And it's going to be a great celebration on March 22nd. It certainly kicks off an exciting year. And today was a teaser of what the exhibition is going to be like in County Monaghan, to hear the stories. And, you know, having worked as a chaperone on the flights, I can, you know, Tricia, you nearly had me in tears there, because I remember so clearly all the children coming and going, and I join with Mrs. Dolan, like the kids on the way home were loud and proud on their way back to Northern Ireland after having the time of their life here. So, I mean, look, it's an honour and a joy for myself and Linda Crossan to work on this project, and we know that it's going to be a wonderful time. All you have to do is book your flight and come to County Monaghan. The rest will be organised. We will make sure that we will leave no one behind on any tour or any celebration. The exhibition is going to be very special, and it's going to be opening on the Wednesday in County Monaghan, and that's going to be very special. And it's not just for that week, it's a lifetime. It's a permanent exhibition. It's going to be placed in the Peace Campus. So for anybody touring from the AOH or anywhere else that's going to be going to any part of Ireland at any time, put County Monaghan Peace Campus on your tour, because this is a celebration of all your own work and for everything that America has done for Northern Ireland. And also, one thing I always think of, and when I think of Denis, is your 50 years as chairman, and to devote your life to that on top of trying to juggle, you know, life and the support of his wife Miriam and his children. And this is a very special moment, because not only will the family be coming, the Mulcahys, from America, but joining his family in Ireland as well, in County Monaghan. And it's Denis wants to, I know, make this about the people. It's all about the people who donated, who helped, the people that he picked up the phone to and helped get the kids there. And what a project. I don't know if we'll ever witness anything like it again. And it's a proud thing for us to be organising. So from October 7th to 11th this year, Aer Lingus is a code. All the bells and whistles are on the website, projectchildren.org. Follow us at Project Children Ireland. We have celebrations galore, and we want you all with us as we educate the world on the accomplishments of Project Children and celebrate the 50 years. So please join us, and we will see you in County Monaghan.